Stanton, the National League MVP last year, swung on and drilled to deep right center field. It is high, it is far, it is gone! It is first Yankee at bat. Giancarlo non si può stopparlo. It is a Stantonian home run, a 2-run blast to right center in his first Yankee at bat, and the Yankees take a 2-0 lead.
That ball hit high and deep. Stretch! Get on back there. They look up. You can put it on the board. Yes!
The next 2-2. Davis to left and will hit. Oh my! It's gone! Santa Maria!
High fly ball into right field. She is gone! In a year that has been so improbable, the impossible has happened.
You're listening to Turn 2 Podcast, presented by Nosebleed Knowledge. Now here's your host, Tucker Franklin.
Welcome to episode 1 of Turn 2, podcast all about baseball. I'm here with my boy Kieran Brennan.
How's it going?
And we are ready to just talk strictly baseball. Finally, a platform where we can only talk baseball. How's it feel, KB?
I'm excited. Baseball's my first love. It's been with me through thick and thin, so I'm excited to talk about it week to week with you.
Yeah, we're gonna this kind of layout of how we're gonna do every show here. We're gonna recap last week. We'll talk a little roster moves if there are any from that last week. We've got a few this week, and then we'll talk about the new power rankings that come out, and we'll talk about things to look forward to. Some notable series for this week coming up. So we'll go ahead and start with a recap of last week. Mother's Day would have been Sunday. A great time. I always love to see what the MLB does for Mother's Day. Always wearing that pink attire. Got the pink bats, pink sleeves, pink batting gloves. Kieran, what did you think about all the Mother's Day gear?
Mother's Day gear has progressively gotten more and more ambitious throughout time, because I remember when they first started it was just pink bats, maybe a pink armband.
Yep.
But now, like, as years go on and on, like we saw, was it Niger Morgan or somebody and Dexter Fowler? I know they had, like, gone all out on their, like, Fruity Pebbles, Mother's Day cleats, cleats that you see Antonio Brown wearing, like, warps and then get fined for. But they're just going all out on Mother's Day. You see catchers with their all pink gear. I like it. I just wish they would start doing the same for Father's Day too. It's like they love their mothers a little bit more.
Well, it's kind of harder Father's Day, especially if you think about teams that are blue already, like the Royals. It just looks like they're wearing a different color of blue, and that's it. I know that for the Mother's Day hats, it is something really cool where they did kind of like the heathered pink caps. I was a big fan of those. I really like what they've done this year. You've seen the Memorial Day. Have you seen the Memorial Day caps that they came out with?
Oh yeah, I like the heathered caps. Those are really cool.
I have the All-Star Game hat from last year, and that's my go-to hat. And it's like one of those heathered blue hats, and I really like what the MLB started to do with that. I know this is like Majestic. I think that's their last, or they're going to be their second to last year. But then Under Armour's going to take over the uniforms, so that'll be interesting to see what Under Armour does. So I think overall Majestic has done a very nice job. I know they've had some mishaps with nameplates on the back, misspellings, but I'm excited to see what Under Armour does, and they take over and do the Father's Day, they do the Mother's Day, Memorial Day. There's just so many holidays during a baseball season that you can get creative with.
It'll be interesting to see, because when Nike took over the NBA, they did a lot of uniform changes, a lot of ambitious ones.
Right, yeah.
Didn't start off too hot. When Nike took over the NFL, a lot of them changed a little bit. Seahawks changed a lot. And when Adidas took over NHL, a lot of those jerseys changed a good amount. So it'll be exciting to see what Under Armour comes up with. I expect a lot of teams' jerseys, not like the teams that stay like the Alabama of Major League Baseball, like the Yankees and like the Cardinals. I don't expect them to change a whole lot, but I expect, I don't know, maybe like the Blue Jays, the Orioles, teams like that, teams that are more on the forefront of creativity. I expect them to change a whole lot more.
I think I sent you a tweet actually earlier today about I think it's the 83 Cardinals that wore those powder blue jerseys.
Oh, yeah, the 82 ones?
82, yes, that's right. They are just very nice. In the words of Borat, very nice.
Very nice.
I'm a big fan of those. We'll go ahead and move on to a recap of this last week. We'll talk about this on the radio, Nosebleed Radio, James Paxton. Right? James Paxton?
Yep.
Threw himself a no. Big Maple up in Canada. I also mentioned this fact. This year there's been 3 no-hitters thrown on 3 different countries, which is a really interesting fact if you think about it. It's all in North America.
Oh yeah, all across North America. And James Paxton has been lights out since that eagle landed on him.
Yes,
it's just like a little touch of the United States nationalism, and he's just been unreal. The Big Maple from Canada got the best of 2 countries.
He got stud too, man. He struck out 16 before the game before. I think Chris Sale had a 15 strikeout game the other day, didn't he?
Probably. I think he strikes out so many.
No, I think the crazy thing
struck out. It was the game after the Red Sox Yankee series because he struck out 15, and I don't think they won that game.
They lost. They lost like 1-0 or something like that.
Yeah, that's just outrageous. That's the type of game as a pitcher you just get so irritated. You're like, I struck out 15, and you can't even give me 2 runs of support.
Yeah, we saw on Twitter. Guys, Boston fans, I follow a few Red Sox fans begging for Chris Sale to get run support.
Yeah, it's weird. That Boston offense is either so good they'll score 8 to 11 runs, and then some days they score 0. But it's like on a day-to-day turn, you know. Mm-hmm. Like on the drop of a dime, they'll score 1, and then the next day they'll score 11.
And you mentioned that Red Sox-Yankees series. The Yankees are just red hot. They took 2 of 3 from Boston, took over first place in the AL East. What do you think about the Yankees?
They are scalding hot, and I hate it. I am not a Yankees guy. This is coming from a guy who's a Cardinals fan talking to a guy that's a Royals fan, if you guys didn't know that. But we don't like the Yankees. The Yankees are the evil empire. I don't think there's anybody out there in the United States that's kind of like lukewarm on the Yankees. You either love them or you hate them. But they are scalding hot right now. I don't see them slowing down anytime soon. Giancarlo Stanton's finally not striking out 5 times a game. Aaron Judge is seemingly hitting for a higher average and less home runs. But yeah, this team is rolling. It's a wagon right now.
It is a wagon. One of my favorite sayings about a good team, a wagon. And then they haven't beat any slouches either. Like before they took 2 out of 3 out of Boston, they beat Houston. So they're beating good teams.
Yeah.
We'll talk some roster moves from this past week. Really up to today, Franmil Reyes was called up for the Padres. 6'5", 23-year-old outfielder. Hit 14 home runs in just 35 games this season for the El Paso Chihuahuas. What do you think about Franmil?
It'll be interesting to see how his skills translate because a lot of times, obviously there's a gap between AAA and the major leagues where you have players like him just tearing up AAA. You can't get him out, going having unreal slash lines and stuff like that, and then they come up to the majors and they struggle a little bit. So he succeeds. That Padres team, they need a little help. Yeah, Eric Hosmer and Will Myers can't do a whole lot with the other talent on that team right now. So I'm hoping that he puts it together because outside of the Diamondbacks, none of those teams are really standing out in the NL West right now.
Right. I watched that game right after they got no-no'd, that combined no-no that was in Mexico, and that ball was just flying out of the park. There was 4 home runs in the first 4 innings from both teams. I mean, Hosmer roped one, and I missed seeing that. He roped one to right, and then I think Will Myers hit one later, so 2 former Royals. Old friend alert. It's got to get over it, I guess.
Pains you to see.
Yeah, it really does. Another roster moves. Robinson Cano to the DL. The Mariners call up Gordon Beckham. That's a name you haven't heard in a while. Cano on the DL with a broken right hand when he was hit by a pitch.
You hate to see that. But Gordon Beckham, he's no slouch. He was tearing it up. I remember when he was tearing it up with the Chi Sox a few years back. So hopefully he can put it together. That Mariners team is pretty good. They are. They're third in the AL West, I think. So hopefully they can put it together.
The Mariners always seem to be one of those teams that always have a promising off season, and they look like they're going to be good heading into the season, and then they just go flat.
And when they play, it's not like they're bad enough to get like a really good draft pick.
Right.
They'll be in that like 12 to like maybe 18 range, like somewhere in there. So like not good, quite good enough to get a blue chip. So like you either gotta win or struggle for a little bit. These middle years are really what kill organizations.
Yeah. If we were talking NBA, then that would be a problem because that is a league where you have a hard time playing right in the middle. Look at the Timberwolves.
Really, if you're not making the playoffs, if you're one of those teams that just miss out on the playoffs, then you're pretty screwed.
Right.
You know.
We'll go ahead and talk about our favorite teams here. The Royals place Lucas Duda on the not the designated list, the DL. They call up Hunter Dozier.
That's first baseman. Duda's your only first baseman, isn't it?
Yep. Ned Yost likes to do this thing where he puts Whit Merrifield everywhere on the field. I think just because he likes Whit Merrifield's bat, which I don't blame him. As we're recording this,
hit Whit.
Yep, he hit a home run already today, tied the game up against the Rays. That game's on ESPN. Not really sure why, but it's okay. It'll always be on ESPN. I think, isn't that just one of the series that always seems like it's on ESPN every year, is the Royals and Rays, no matter how bad they are?
They have to get, I think ESPN has a contract with all the teams where, they usually put the best game of Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday on, but they have to get every team on there. And so, like, Royals and Rays, two teams that over the past, since the Royals won the World Series, haven't been amazing, kind of struggling. So they're just like, well, let's just, like, two birds, one stone. Let's throw when they play each other on. That way we can satisfy our contract needs and we'll be okay.
And it's painless, too. You have two bad teams, and when they play a good game, it looks like it's actually good baseball.
It looks like it was good marketing on your part. Just, all right.
Right.
Good work.
And talking about the Cardinals here, Adam Wainwright back to the DL. Kieran and I had a conversation about him earlier. Said ever since he tore his Achilles, he has been no good.
Yeah, I read a tweet today that said that he tore his Achilles. I don't remember when it was. I want to say 2013, but I don't think that's right. But he never fully recovered from it. He hasn't fully recovered, and he just keeps going down with elbow injuries. He went down yesterday was his first start after his rehab assignment, and he was throwing 87 to 89, so the lowest velocity he's been throwing from a much lower arm angle, basically sidearm. So it's just like that. Throwing sidearm, that's not going to help. That's not going to help your elbow at all. He threw it. Had a career high in walks, threw not a lot of innings, and then just went back on the DL. So I hate to say it, but we're nearing the end of Adam Wainwright's career. It's coming pretty rapidly, especially with all the pitchers that the Cardinals have in their organization. Alex Reyes is making his rehab starts right now, so it's coming faster than people like to think.
It just sucks to see it happen to a guy like that who's done so much for your organization. Just see that steady decline like that.
Yeah.
Going off. Go ahead.
He's going in the Cardinals Hall of Fame for sure, but I don't know. He's just not ready to give it up, which I respect. So.
Yeah. So you talked about how the Cardinals have a good minor league system. We'll talk about the prospect team player of the week. Vlad Guerrero Jr. Man, that guy's a stud. He has been tearing it up. He's batting three.
He's in Double-A. It's almost like he's a real life road to the show player. He's just hitting bombs off hotels, and his stats are just like, he's playing on rookie. He really needs to step it up to veteran difficulty. But there's nothing you can do about him. Call him up, I don't know. He's exciting. He's going to give the Blue Jays something exciting to look forward to for the next couple of years, because that team it's not great. They're in the rebuilding stage right now.
Yeah, he's the number 2 overall prospect according to MLB Pipeline. He batted .393 with .714 slugging percentage and a 1.128 OPS last week for the Double-A New Hampshire Fisher Cats. I love minor league names.
I love them too, and I love when they change for like who was it? Who was it that changed their? It was the San Antonio Missions.
Yep.
Changed their name to the San Antonio Chunkless for a week, and I was like, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I love, and when the Fresno Grizzlies changed their name to the Fresno Tacos, I was like, I love minor league baseball so much. They're just yeah, we're gonna do this. We made new uniforms. Deal with it.
Yeah, that's the wildest part, that they're just we're going to change our name for a month. Because I remember the Omaha Storm Chasers changed their name to the Omaha Runzas.
Anything to get more money.
Oh, you know? Minor League Baseball, I think that's something that is a national treasure to America. And I think it is taken completely for granted. But more people need to go to minor league baseball games.
Oh my gosh. I love minor league baseball so much. I remember one time, my family, we were going on our vacation. We were visiting my brother up in Nebraska, and we went to an Omaha Storm Chasers game, and it was I don't know, the time that you and I get there 2 hours before the gates open.
Right, yeah.
So we get there, and my dad's like, can we get tickets? We need 5 tickets. And the person's like, I'm sorry, all we can get for you is second row, third base side. We're just okay, that's those are still great seats, and this is professional baseball.
Right.
I love minor league baseball. I love it so much.
Still talking about Vlad Jr., he set Twitter ablaze today on Monday. Set it absolutely on fire. Everyone thought he was in New York. The Jays are playing the Yankees, and he posted a picture of him in JFK Airport back in December to make people think he got caught up with the Jays. Why would he do that?
Baseball has had a reputation of being kind of the better than you sport. We hold ourselves to a high standards. So it's nice to see somebody in baseball having a little fun, and Vlad Jr. just poking fun at all the people, or all the journalists and all the fans. I love it. He's trolling baseball. I love it so much.
Yeah, Cespedes Barbecue, that's one of Kieran and I's favorite Twitter accounts, was having a field day with it. They were tweeting stuff out. Vlad Jr.'s in NYC, and so were the Blue Jays, with a bunch of emojis. He took down the geotag, actually, later of him at JFK being at the terminal. And then they went back on his Instagram and realized that it was from December. So they realized that he was just trolling everybody.
Man, but that guy, how smart of an idea is that to just be like, you know what? Yankees are playing Blue Jays in NYC. I happen to have this picture of me in NYC. Let me just have a little fun. That's a light bulb moment.
He knew exactly what he was doing.
There's no doubt in my mind he will. That's an idea that you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, this is the best idea I've ever had.
Oh yeah.
And 100% that's what happened.
Let's move on to the power rankings. The AL leading the 4 out of the top 5 teams are from the American League. Yankees are at 1, sitting there with a 28-12 record.
They are a wagon. They're at 1. Red Sox are behind them at 2, also 28-12. But they're just probably the reason they fell from the heights of number 1 is because the Yankees are 19-3 since April 21st.
Yeah, that's a wild. You read that to me earlier, and I had to double take back at you because I kind of took me a while to process 19-3 since April 21st. Well, first it took me to realize what day it was, which is May 14th, and that's wild.
It's ridiculous, Your
Cardinals are sitting at number 6 though, even after a rough week.
Yeah, they split with the Padres, which you don't like to see. You like to see you need to beat the bad teams and split with the good teams, and that'll make you a contender for the playoffs. And splitting with the Padres is a killer. Yeah, Cardinals are feeling absence of Molina. But, hopefully they get it back together. Hopefully the Cardinals' three best players, on paper, the three best players in their outfield of Ozuna, Pham, and Fowler. Ozuna and Fowler have been struggling this season. Hopefully they put it together. Matt Carpenter's not doing too hot either.
That never helps. Is he batting 1 yet?
He batted 1. They've had Tommy Pham hitting 1. He hits 1, 2, 3. He's the best player on the team. He's betting on himself, and so far he's winning. So,
yeah. I talked with you about that article, and I think that made me like Tommy Pham even more.
Yeah, me too. I like him.
My Kansas City Royals are sitting at number 26. They had a kind of a big offensive day against the Indians, scoring 10 runs. Not that big of a deal. They beat the Orioles.
It was the Orioles, wasn't it?
Yeah. This is their week in runs. They played the Tigers last Sunday, 4 runs. That was a win. Orioles, 15 runs and a win. 3 runs and a loss to the Orioles, 6 runs and a loss. You score 6 runs, you expect to win a game.
Yeah.
Beat the Indians with a 10-run game. Lose to the Indians 2 runs. That's not very good. And then yesterday, 2 runs. So they kind of tapered off, but they've been scoring runs, and that's what they've really been struggling with. But I've known all along it's been the pitching. Our starting pitching is there. Danny Duffy's the one that's really struggling, and he's even came out and said, hey, I know it's me. I'm not pitching well. It's my fault. I'm not helping the team. And I respect that from Danny Duffy. Danny Duffy's a very respectable guy. But he's got to figure out a way to get it turned around, I think, so we can get on the right track. We don't have a bullpen either, so pitching's kind of important, and we don't have any relief pitchers behind him. We have Kelvin Herrera, who used to be one of the best closers in the game, one of the best setup men in the game, but now he just never gets a chance to get out there.
Yeah, you said to me multiple times, basically, before we got home from school every day, you said, Royals don't have a bullpen. Royals don't have a bullpen. And you guys have fallen from graces when he had that bullpen of Hochevar, Hall, and Davis, or Herrera Davis. Basically that year, the year you guys won the World Series, after the 5th inning, games got a whole lot shorter. After the 5th inning, if Royals are up, you're like, this might be it. So,
yeah, that's how you do it. That's how you win games right there.
You see it. Honestly,
you do.
In more terms of the power rankings, we're finally seeing the New York Mets we expected to see. They have fallen from grace of their first couple of weeks, and they're becoming the Mets we know and love.
Now, I don't want to say that. Nats and the Phillies and the Braves are 8, 9, 10 in the power rankings. NL East making an appearance there.
And as we all predicted, the Braves are number 1 in the East right now.
Yeah, of course. We all knew that.
We all knew that. Let's just go ahead and pat ourselves on the back for predicting that.
Oh, yeah.
Good. They're just going to keep getting better. They have another prospect, third base prospect, that they're going to call up soon. They got Dansby Swanson, Okuna, Albies? Is that how you say it?
Albies is how I thought, but I'm known to be wrong.
But gosh, that team, that's how you rebuild correctly, right there.
Oh yeah. You remember when that team, was that last year, it was just super weird? They had like Matt Kemp, Brandon Phillips, then they had like Dansby Swanson on there, and they had a bunch of young guys, Ender Inciarte, and a bunch of old guys, and it was super old, like a Mod Podge team.
They still have Freddie Freeman. Freeman's
oh my gosh.
quietly been a perennial all-star from year to year, but he's been playing on a bad Braves team, so people just don't think about him. But he's a solid ball player year to year.
The Nats have turned it around, though. I wrote my first month report card on the Nats, and they were on one of my teams that were slackers. And they are now number 8 in the power rankings, and I believe that they're second in that division. Is that right?
The Nats, they're third right now.
They're still third.
Yeah, the Phillies are number 2. It goes Braves, Phillies.
Oh well, they're a half game back of the Phillies, so they're close.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're a half game back. Phillies are a game and a half back of the Bravos. But really, the Mets and the Marlins at the bottom of that division, that's where we all thought that they would be.
Yeah. Yep. We all predicted that one too.
Yep. That was a good prediction.
Talk about some notable series this week. Yankees play the Nationals. That's some interleague play right there. Always love to see that.
That is interleague. I remember back in the day, saying that makes me feel old, but when there were 14 AL teams and 16 NL teams, and it was 2 weeks in June where it was just interleague play. And I remember that's when the I-70 series really hit its stride. But ever since the Astros moved over, there's always been at least one series that was interleague play. Mm-hmm. And Yankees versus Nationals, two of the best teams, hottest teams in baseball right now, facing off against each other. I expect a good series. That's just a quick 2-gamer, Tuesday and Wednesday.
Oh yeah. That'll be a great series. Love to see hitters like Bryce Harper go up against Aaron Judge, go up against the Giancarlo Stantons. That ball will be flying out of the park. Where's that at?
I'm not sure. I was thinking about that right now. That is at Washington.
Well, I still think there'll be home runs hit.
It looks like the Nationals have seemingly the better pitchers going on Wednesday. They have Max Scherzer, and Tuesday they have Gio Gonzalez going. So
I forget about that guy.
That's another guy who quietly performs really well, but because he's on a team with Steven Strasburg and Max Scherzer, just gets overlooked.
Right. Another series, a fun series we have down here to watch. Astros versus Angels. That's Monday to Wednesday, 3-game series.
That's the top 2 teams in that division right now. The Angels have been performing really really well. The Ohtani show. I know you don't like him, but he's been playing pretty good.
Yeah, he has been. I just don't think he can sustain it, is the thing. And I thought everyone was too excited, basically setting the bar too high for him. And I think that it wasn't right for him to come with such high standards if he's the next Babe Ruth, one of the best players to ever play the game. And he did it both ways. So I wasn't fair to Ohtani. And, I tried to go see him, and that game got rained out. And I really hope he pitches June 25th. If he doesn't, I'm going to be upset.
Crazy thing to think about, I think the Angels are doing a great way because you said you were afraid they couldn't maintain him, or he couldn't sustain it, which I understand, which I don't think he will either. But they're doing a really good thing of, he's DHing, so he's got 4 days in between, or 5 days in between starts. He'll DH 2 of those days and then sit the rest. Mm-hmm. But it rests his arm because he's not playing in the outfield, and he's throwing 101 on the days where he is pitching. It's crazy to think dude's only 23. So he's not Ichiro, who came over when he was like 27, 28 already. He's got a long MLB career ahead of him already after a decently length Japanese career.
Yeah. The World, what do they call it? World Baseball Classic, right? I almost called it the World Cup of Baseball. World Cup of Hockey is what I was thinking of. World Baseball Classic will be a good one.
I look forward to it. I love it.
Oh,
I love all the competitions where the world comes together. I love the Olympics. I love the World Cup. I love World Cup of Hockey. I love it. I'm a big nationalist guy.
Mm-hmm. We have a big NL matchup here. Cubs versus Braves. Two teams that are... Cubs leading the Central, aren't they?
No, Cubs are in third. It goes Brewers, Cardinals, Cubs.
Really? Where have I been? That's weird. Big NL NL Series here. Cubs, Braves, Monday through Thursday. That's a 4-gamer.
Yeah, the Braves took game 1 today already. They played early.
Yeah. Yeah, I always want to go to a day game.
Cubs are in 4th right now. But that Central Division is so close that it's Milwaukee at 24-17, then the Cardinals at 22-16, half a game back. Pittsburgh at 23-17, half a game back. The Cubs at 21-17, game and a half back, and then the Reds 10 games back in the basement. So
Reds aren't good.
They're not good.
Another series we're looking at, Yankees Royals. That won't be a very fun one for me. Friday to Sunday. They're actually giving away a George Brett Pine Tar bobblehead on Saturday, so I might have to sneak over there and snag me one. I'm a big George Brett guy.
The only bad thing about this is the Royals have been bad, and so their tickets have been cheap. But you can always spike up prices when the Yankees come to town, and that's what they're going to do. Yankees, Red Sox, Cardinals. When they're in town, Royals can raise prices because they know that those are the teams that are going to draw fans.
Red Sox too.
Red Sox too.
I'd pay some money to go see Mookie Betts. One of my favorite ball players.
I remember one time I saw the Yankees fans always travel well too. We went to a Yankees-Rays game in Tampa, and 75. You know, Tampa is not a very. The fan base doesn't attend the games too much,
right?
And so I would go as far to say that probably 60% of that stadium was Yankees fans, and it was packed. And that was the year it was A-Rod, Mark Teixeira, CC Sabathia pitched, Evan Longoria was on that team, BJ Upton. Those were good teams, and it's just Rays fans still weren't going to the games.
Yeah, Rays fans are just kind of sad. That field is so disgusting.
They need to. They need to move. They need to move somewhere. Them and the A's.
Montreal.
Rays to Montreal. A's to Portland.
There's been a push for the A's to go to Portland. I've seen that. But the A's really take pride in being Oakland's only team.
They do. Now that the Warriors, is it this year or next year that they're just moving across, like over the
to San Francisco,
to San Francisco, just across the bridge.
Yeah, but it still hurts their feelings.
Yeah.
And then you have the Raiders moving to Vegas next year. Not next calendar year, I should say.
I don't think they're not going to be good.
I think Vegas will support them all right, but that's not for this podcast.
We'll tell Shane and Toby to talk about it.
Oh yeah. First and 10 podcast, football only podcast. You guys like football and baseball? Go ahead and check both these podcasts out, both from Nosebleed Knowledge. Last series we're going to talk about here, we'll wrap it up. I-70 series starts Monday, the 21st. We've talked about going to one of these games. I believe it's in St. Louis too.
Let me check.
I think it's in St. Louis. It's in the Lou. So, and I looked at the ticket prices, and I think they were selling for about $8.
Looks like right now projected starters for that game, or game one, Ian Kennedy versus Miles Michaelis, who's quietly been the Cardinals' best pitcher.
I like him
this year.
I
like him too.
King.
Lizard King, yeah. And then game two, Jason Hamill versus Luke Weaver. So, Cardinals, game three, Jacob Junis versus Michael Wacha. That's what we're looking at projected starters-wise.
Junis is a stud.
He's been your best pitcher this year.
Yep, and I'm okay with it.
This isn't his rookie year, though. I think we looked it up before. I think he pitched last year, didn't he?
Yeah, last year he surpassed rookie limits. So this will be his sophomore year.
And no sophomore slump so far.
Well, knock on some wood, because there we go. We're good now. Got anything else? Got any final thoughts here?
Nope. I'm excited to have this baseball-only podcast. Really spout some opinions on the sport that I grew up watching. So I'm excited. I look forward to talking about it week to week.
Yeah, if you guys have any suggestions for the show, make sure let us know. Hit us up on Twitter. DM us at NosebleedsKnow on Twitter. You can message us on Facebook, Nosebleed Knowledge. Even find our personal accounts. At The Real Tucker F is mine. KB, what's yours?
Kieran Brennan 15 on Twitter.
That's right. Each one of your social media has like a different number after it. I can never keep them straight.
Yeah, it was my baseball number the year that I made up the account. So I made my Twitter account my sophomore year. And I was 15 that year.
There you have it, folks. The method of the madness.
Woo.
For Kieran Brennan, I'm Tucker Franklin. Thanks for tuning in to Turn 2, a podcast strictly about baseball. Catch us next Monday when we'll have another episode of this podcast. We'll talk about more baseball. We'll catch you on the flip.